my life, and I didn't want to be. I wanted a wife. And I was, you know, when you had the picture of the reptile, and then the eggs were hatching, and out came a bird.
Right, pelican.
Really good, except when you got to the part where, you know, you'd have to wait around a long time. You know, I felt like I waited a long time for Becky to finally come around. I don't know why you took so long. But in any case, I felt better when I thought about that one. Because that guy would have been waiting for a long
Forever.
time. Isn't that amazing? That's an amazing point, you know, how God, how do they explain, how does an evolutionist explain, you know, that you have not only the plants that an animal needs to eat or whatever, but the animal itself able to eat that plant, plus you have to provide him a mate. It just, you know,
and then reproduction.
That's
it's
just
amazing.
Impossible that these two things would just rise up at the same time, perfectly fit for each other. Yeah, you know, I have a hard time believing in evolution.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I agree. Okay.
You know, don't victimize these guys too bad, okay?
They're going to have fun. Don't worry. We're going to talk about M&Ms, puppies, and dinosaurs. How many of you like M&Ms? Do you like M&Ms? Do you like to eat?
I love M&Ms.
What are M&Ms? I'll show you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now this is part of our experiment now, so I'm going to ask you some questions. That's going to be your prize, but you have to answer some questions. So, M&Ms, puppies, and dinosaurs. Let's talk about M&Ms. Let me ask you about M&Ms, okay? Here are some questions. Are they all the same? Take a look in the bag.
Nope, not at all.
No. What are they made of and how do they differ?
Well,
You don't have to answer all these questions.
they differ because they're different shapes,
Okay,
different sizes, and they're different colors.
okay.
And they're made of, some are made of peanuts, some are made of, you know, chocolate.
Right, very
They all
good.
have a candy coating.
Excellent, outstanding. Are they the result of chance? Did they just appear out of nowhere?
Well, now that you mention it, kind of. Not really, no. They made them.
I don't want to flunk you now.
No.
Okay, they're not the result of chance. They were designed, right?
Design, they were made.
Okay. If they were designed, who designed them?
Mars.
Who?
The Mars company.
Oh, okay. The company that makes them,
Yeah,
right?
Mars
Okay.
snack foods.
Okay. Do you see any defects? See any defects in there?
Yeah, I do kind of see because the peanut out of place.
You can take a look too. Do you see any that are defective, that aren't quite normal?
Yeah, I see one that's sliced in half.
One is sliced in half.
Maybe at least 4.
In other words, they're not all perfect, are they?
Yep.
Okay. If a company is making defective M&Ms, can that be corrected? Can they fix something? And how would you not have, when you go back and buy more of them, what would a company have to do to not have defective M&Ms?
It would be impossible to make, you know, to make them not defective because they ship them different. They ship them and they all, you know.
But could you make them better, maybe? Maybe if you looked at the machinery, maybe there's a defect in the machine. Maybe you could fix some of that. Maybe not all of it. But it's an imperfect world, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long would it take for a company to figure out what's going on, that they're not all perfect? Would that take millions of years?
You could possibly. It all depends. It all depends on if the company's doing good or bad financially.
But ordinarily, do you think it would take years, or do you think a company could probably figure that out within a few weeks, maybe?
Could possibly.
I think so, most often. Okay. How does nature deal with defects?
That's a good one.
I can wait for that because we're going to talk about puppies. Let's hold off on that one for a moment. Have you ever seen nature make the impossible possible?
Yes.
You did?
See it all the time.
Impossible? Give me an example. He's really testing me tonight.
Wait, repeat the question again?
Is there anything in nature that can make the impossible? Is there anything in nature that is impossible, but that nature will fix it and now it becomes possible? I hope this isn't a trick question, but nature has certain rules by which nature has to operate. And if it's impossible, it's not going to be able to get beyond those rules just because it's nature. That doesn't solve everything. Okay, do you like M&Ms? You already told me you love them. Do M&Ms affect how we view the world?
They should. They do.
In what way?
That we are all different. We all don't have the same. We're not all the same. You know, we're not uniform. We aren't stick to one set of. We all aren't set on one strict guideline of how we should look like, how we should act, how we should talk, and all that.
And also, M&Ms can make us happy, right?
Oh, definitely.
All right, that's my answer. You can relax. No, you're my buddy here. Because we're not going to talk about M&Ms, we're going to talk about puppies. But let's go back once more. Are they all M&Ms? Either one of you?
No, actually. Some are Skittles.
Yes.
Now that I noticed, I see some S's on there.
Okay, there are Skittles in there. They have the same manufacturer, by the way.
Yeah, Mars.
But they're a different kind, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're talking about kinds. Different kinds. M&Ms are different kinds of M&Ms. Now let's move on to puppies. Skittles, we just talked about Skittles. There is variation within kind, but Skittles are a different kind from M&Ms. Skittles aren't the same kind of candy as M&Ms, though they do have the same manufacturer. Okay, puppies. Are they all the same? Puppies? You don't have to look at any of this. Are puppies all the same? Puppies in the world, little dogs? They're not all the same, are they? How do they differ? How can one puppy be different from another? Is there anything you look for if you say, well, this is not the same puppy? Okay, how about color, size, how they act sometimes? Pit bulls don't act the same as terriers, right? No. Do puppies just appear out of nowhere? Do they just arrive? And you can help with that too. No?
No, they were created.
Mm-hmm. They don't just arrive. If they were created, who designed them?
God.
God? Okay, you got it. Good. Are there any defects in puppies? Have you ever seen a puppy that has something wrong with it? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Give me an example.
Maybe there's no like limb.
Okay, very good. A puppy may be born without a leg,
Yeah,
right?
without a leg, yeah.
Or without a tail,
Yeah.
or without an ear, or with an ear that is deformed. Now, is it easy to fix some of these problems with puppies? Not easy, is it?
No, it's hard.
Easier to deal with M&Ms that are defective. Puppies are a little harder
Yeah.
because they're much more complicated.
Yes.
Okay. Do you like puppies? Do you like dogs? Okay. If you like dogs, does that make you happy in the world? Make you any happier if you have a dog? Probably so. That's all there's to this. That's all there's to it. Now you may go back and you may take your M&Ms with you. Thank you. You're not allowed to eat them in church, and don't eat them all at once. Now, how wonderful that your dog just had pups. But shouldn't you be checking the litter to be sure that one of them isn't a kitten? Well, that's nonsense, isn't it? Of course not. Kinds always reproduce after their kind. How many of you saw that movie last night on kinds? Those professors were stumped. They were absolutely stumped because kinds produce kinds. After his kind, 10 times total in Genesis 1, it says either after his kind or after their kind or after its kind, depending on what translation you read. Should get a message there, I think. Created kinds are based on the information written into their DNA. That's why they are created kinds. Now the dog kind. There are wolves. There are coyotes. There are other kinds of dog kinds. What? Can you name this animal? Dino dog, maybe? Have you ever seen an animal like that? No. Of course not, because the kinds remain kinds. Kinds remain kinds. I created this in my spare time one day. Dino dogs make about as much sense as dinosaurs becoming birds, and yet people continue to push this nonsense. Dinosaur evolution, well, did they change or evolve into birds? Is that what happened? No. Good. Good answer. I wish I had more M&Ms. Well, if you want a dinosaur to fly, you're going to have to teach that dinosaur some things. But you're going to have to change that dinosaur totally. Because birds have hollow bones, dinosaurs don't. Birds have feathers, dinosaurs don't. And it goes on and on. What's next? Flying pigs? Yeah. Well, why not? If dinosaurs learned to fly, why wouldn't pigs start developing wings? But how or where will they get the hollow bones, feathers, and flow-through respiratory system needed for flight? Where would that come from? And why would it even occur? And why would dinosaurs want to fly? Dinosaurs have inspired countless myths and legends, but how do the facts fit with the Bible? Well, paleontologists say that dinosaurs became extinct long before humans ever walked the earth, but this is in stark contrast with the Genesis account, both humans and animals being created on the same day. Remember, that was the 6th day. The great dinosaur mystery. The word dinosaur means terrible lizard. That doesn't mean that dinosaurs were all lizards. Dinosaurs were supposedly reptiles appearing 235 million years ago and dying out 67 million years ago, long before humans appeared. But who could know that, since nobody was around to see what was happening at that time? Who would know that? That is conjecture. What happened to the dinosaurs? Well, there are all kinds of theories. The leading secular theory contends that the impact of one or more large comets or asteroids caused a cooling trend. They call that impact winter, killing off the dinosaurs. Well, that's a theory. Come up with any story you want. Frozen masses of dust and gas, well, those would be comets. Some people said that comets destroyed the dinosaurs. How about asteroids? Asteroids are small planets or small pieces of space debris. This one doesn't look very happy because he's just gotten hit by an asteroid. Another theory attributes sudden cooling of the whole climate brought about by a series of huge volcanic eruptions over a short period of time that's called volcanic winter. And we don't know exactly what happened after the flood. It may very well have been that the temperature was such that there wasn't even enough vegetation for dinosaurs to exist. We don't know that. Well, could have been the Noahic flood, maybe. And I do think that's what killed off the dinosaurs. Not that a dinosaur would scream help, because they are their own kind. They don't talk, do they? They don't speak like we do. But how about yet another theory? So here goes the ark, and the dinosaurs forgot to get on the ark. But that's not what happened, did it? The Bible said that two of each kind were on the ark. And that, of course, would include dinosaurs as well. So here you have the ark. You see all kinds of creatures going on 2 by 2. What an amazing, amazing event that would have been. Dinosaurs were on the ark and they came off the ark. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Well, that would include the dinosaurs too. But how could the dinosaurs fit into Noah's ark? They were huge, weren't they? Yeah. But do you know that most dinosaurs were not huge? Most of them were about the size of an ostrich. There were huge dinosaurs, but most of them were a lot smaller, still dinosaurs. Noah's ark was at least 450 feet long. It was 75 feet wide and 45 feet high. It was huge. Well, did the dinosaurs die out millions of years before Adam, like evolutionists or theistic evolutionists would have it? Well, there are fossils in Biloxi, Texas that show dinosaur and human footprints together. I have to tell you, there is some argument about whether or not this is true, but I've spoken with people who've actually seen this and they say it's true. There's cave art in France that shows dinosaurs and people living together. There's this art in caves that showed dinosaurs with people. So you wouldn't think that they would make art of something that died out 67 million years ago. The Bible gives us some clues also. Genesis 1 says, all the animals were created on 6th day. Adam's domain included every living creature, Genesis 1 verse 28, presumably the dinosaurs also. Birds, however, came before land animals, so they didn't evolve from the dinosaurs. Not if you believe the Genesis account, at least. The psalmist wrote, you made him, that is man, ruler over the works of your hands. You put everything under his feet, all flocks and herds, the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea. Genesis 7 says, all the animals enter the ark, so why not dinosaurs too? And Job describes the behemoth with its tail like a cedar. His ribs are like bars of iron. Sounds like a dinosaur. Job also describes Leviathan with his terrible teeth all around. On earth there is nothing like him. The arrow cannot make him flee. And Leviathan was probably a huge sea monster, mentioned also in Psalm 74, Psalm 104, and Isaiah 27. Probably not a dinosaur. Here are some of these dino tracks in Biloxi, Texas. Here you see a young boy sitting in a dinosaur footprint. Absolutely huge. Here's a human hand in the dinosaur track. Dino trail, huge compared with human footprints. These are fossilized. These pictures of human tracks overlapping the dinosaur tracks were taken in 1989. They were found in the Biloxi River bed near Glen Rose, Texas. The one on the left was taken an hour after excavation. The one on the right, seemingly damaged, was taken after revelations about it were presented to an audience. So apparently there were people who said this can't be true, so they went out and they destroyed some of these dinosaur tracks because they didn't want that as part of history. Here's another example of a DINO-HUMAN footprint. You can't see it well, but there's big toe and small toes. The whole dinosaur footprint takes up the whole slide there. The Texas drought has made new revelations possible in the Biloxi River bed, excavated by Dr. Don Patton, a Christian, in September 2000. The trail consists of 136 tracks extending over 400 feet. Dinosaurs before horses. According to evolutionists, dinosaurs developed tens of millions of years before horses, dying out long before the first horse galloped across the countryside. According to the Bible, however, horses and dinosaurs were created on the same day, meaning we should be able to find evidences of both in the same rocks. Well, recently, several examples of apparent horse hoof marks in rocks supposedly older than most dinosaurs were found in Grand Canyon. In other words, it looks like horses and dinosaurs lived together at one time, which makes sense. Now, recent fossilized finds in Montana, scientists have extracted soft tissue from the marrow of a fossilized Tyrannosaurus rex thigh bone. The flexible tissue can be stretched and returns to its original form. Here you see some bone marrow that is soft and spongy. And here you see a blood vessel. And here you see red blood cells. in these dinosaur bones. Now, how does that fit with 67 million years of dinosaurs turning into stone? It doesn't fit at all. Behemoth and Leviathan. Leviathan, we said, is more likely an aquatic, a sea monster. Dinosaurs, you can see why Job might have called a dinosaur a behemoth. So here you have a young boy on the left. He says, "Behold now behemoth which I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. Lo, how his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moves his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stone are wrapped." Wow. Sounds like a dinosaur, doesn't it? Straight from the book of Job. That big tail, like a cedar. Oh. Of course. Okay, tail is like a cedar, and this young man says, wow. But now you have another lad, he's reading, behemoth is possibly an elephant or a hippopotamus. He's bringing a new twist to this. A tail like a cedar, well, that's an elephant, but they don't have tails like a cedar. Hippopotamus doesn't have a tail like a cedar. So it had to be a different creature altogether. It fits with a dinosaur, but not a hippo or an elephant. Were dinosaurs cold-blooded reptiles? Well, recent fossil finds suggest that they were warm-blooded, having 4-chambered hearts, not 3-chambered hearts like frogs do. Frogs are cold-blooded. We have 4 chambers, and they found that dinosaurs had 4 chambers, so that they were more warm-blooded, not really reptiles after all. Were they feathered? Well, the down-cover tyrannosaurs from China are a hoax, not evolving birds. In fact, they have little stores in China where they glue feathers on dinosaur remains. It's a hoax. Did the dinosaurs fly? Well, the pterosaurs were flying monsters, but they were probably not at all dinosaurs. They were more like extinct birds or some other classification totally. They were not dinosaurs, the pterosaurs. But they had huge wingspans, some of them like a Boeing 747. Monsters. We find them in the fossil record. Were dinosaurs green? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Why did the dinosaurs die out? Well, an asteroid perhaps, striking Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. I don't think so. The Noahic flood, I think, is a very good explanation for dinosaurs destroying. And if I were Noah getting off the ark, you know, the first creatures I would kill on a bad day, I would kill the dinosaurs. That's the bad side of me, because I don't want them eating up all of my materials, my foods that I plant. I want to get rid of the dinosaurs. Now, I'm not saying that Noah was as evil as I am, and I don't think Noah would have done that. Could the dinosaurs have died at the hands of man? We know that a lot of species are now extinct because of man's putting them out of existence. Dodos, carrier pigeons, they're not around anymore. They are extinct. Real carrier pigeons are extinct because of man killing off the pigeons, eating them. Actually, animal extinction happens all the time, even today. There are creatures that are becoming extinct. Maybe that's what happened with the dinosaurs. Somebody figured out, hey, this tastes good. Maybe they tasted like chicken. Men have a hunting instinct and will kill any animal threatening them, and dinosaurs must have been the most threatening of all animals created by God. I'm not sure, but I think I would be afraid of dinosaurs. Dinosaurs hatched from eggs. Some grew to monstrous size, but most of them were no larger than sheep or ostriches. And you see all kinds of classifications. We're not going to go into that, but those are all different kinds of dinosaurs. Dino classification. Tyrannosaurus rex, just to show you some of the classifications. Plesiosaur, this was a water creature. Probably not an exact dinosaur, but something like a dinosaur. Here you have the pterodon with these huge, huge wingspans, not a dinosaur. Triceratops, you know why it's called Triceratops? Because tri is 3. See those 3 horns, Triceratops? Dragons have long been legendary. Some say dragons were dinosaurs in history, and others claim that they may still be alive somewhere on planet Earth. Dragons? Who knows? Revelation 20, verse 2, Satan is described as a dragon, that ancient serpent. The dragon pictured here is based on a dinosaur named Baryonyx walkeri, meaning heavy claw. See those heavy claws? Cabazon. And you thought dinosaurs were extinct? Well, I took this picture just the other day, and here's a police car. Let's see what happened to the divider. And yeah, it's Cabazon. Hadley's, have you ever shopped at Hadley's? No, this is nonsense, of course, but how would you like one of those creatures on a freeway? Remember this, facts are tied to assumptions, and there's seldom such a thing as a brute fact in origins research. Paleontologists claim that the present is the key to the past, as Hutton, Lyell, and Darwin saw it, but actually the past, as God explains it in His Word, is the key to the present, as Scripture tells it, and the Bible is its own interpreter. That's the end of this. Now, I want to show you a very brief video. And let me tell you something about this video. Well, let me stop it for a moment. Let's stop that for a moment. A man, a theologian by the name of William Paley, back in the 1800s, wrote a book entitled The Watchmaker Hypothesis. And he was a wonderful, godly man. He wrote books on theology, on the Bible. And he said, if you walk through the woods, and you find a watch along your path, and you pick it up and you look at it, yes, it's a watch. He says, did that watch just appear by chance? And he says, no, there had to be a watchmaker. Watches don't just appear, there has to be a watchmaker. So that was the name of his book, The Watchmaker Hypothesis. And he related that to all of creation. Do these things just appear by chance? He says, no, humans can't just pop up out of the dust any more than what a watch could pop up out of the dust. It doesn't work that way. And he was right on. Well, in 1990, Richard Dawkins, this evolutionary zoologist from Oxford University, wrote a book, and he wrote about the blind watchmaker. The blind watchmaker. What he did was he took Paley's arguments and he turned them around on their head, and he said, there is no such thing as a watchmaker. God creating all this? He says, if God created all of this, He created a faulty watch. You know? And so, that kind of God, if you want to believe in that, that's fine. But don't believe that it always takes God to make the world. Now, I want you to see a little video about the watchmaker. And I hope we're on here. And watch the narration on the left. I don't think we're on.
So there.
Let's end it. Okay. This is going to be the last for the evening. The watchmaker. Again, read this as you go along.
A long time ago on a planet so bare, some water and dirt got mixed up with the air. Some sand and some rocks to make it just right. The stage was all set in the deep of the night. A bolt of white lightning, a great peal of thunder. And suddenly there was a marvelous wonder. The rocks yielded metal, the sand turned to glass, and as the years flew, a new thing came to pass. The metal formed gears, the glass a watch face, and little by little things fell into place. The parts came together just like a good rhyme, with ticks and with tocks and with hands that tell time. A beautiful watch began ticking one day, formed all by itself in a wonderful way. Ridiculous story, you say with a grin. Impossible, laughable, surely a sin. A watch needs a watchmaker, that's plain to see. A designer and builder that makes it for me. Now all life is made of some interesting stuff. Cells of all shapes, like blobs filled with fluff. But looks are deceiving, and what we find there are factories and highways and gadgets to spare. Assembly lines, robots, electrical cable, libraries, software. Just look, if you're able. The marvels we see with a microscope stare make a watch look so simple, we dare not compare. Now the doctors from Oxford say cells came by chance, from goo down to you, in a beautiful dance. What's wrong with their thinking to have such odd notions that cells could just happen from dirt and warm oceans? A cell and its wonders amaze all who see, and a cell like a watch by chance cannot be. Those cells can build hummingbirds, agile and free, bumblebees, snails, my backyard oak tree. A woodpecker built with a jackhammer nose, lightning bugs, monkeys, a beautiful rose, and beetles with bombs that give frogs a surprise, chameleons with camouflage and some weird eyes. All nature on earth is so perfectly fine, we have to admit that it's all by design, and our Maker owns everything, both great and small. He's the masterful watchmaker, Lord over all.
So Richard Dawkins can say what he wants about the blind watchmaker. The reason he says if there is a God, he has to be a blind watchmaker is because there are flaws in nature. And he says, if God is a real watchmaker, why would he make junk? And that's the whole theme behind his book, The Blind Watchmaker, which is a pretty shallow theme, and it has no future. Because God made things perfectly, they're no longer perfect because we are sinners. And Satan is active. But we have hope and a future. Thank you so much for staying. I'm sorry to keep you so late this evening. Tomorrow, for those of you who can come, we're going to be talking about some of the implications of today's theistic evolution and atheistic evolution. How does that affect schools, colleges, students, young people? How does it affect our world? How does it affect morality, worldviews? It's amazing, the effect. It's a poisonous effect. So if you can come tomorrow, we will try not to keep people too long tomorrow, maybe an hour max. Okay?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Can I close in prayer? Lord our God, what a marvelous, marvelous watchmaker you are. And it's not just watches, but you have created us with a heart and a mind. Let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be pleasing to you. And just help us to realize that it's you that we live for and not ourselves. In your name, amen.
Amen.